الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده ولا أمة بعد أمته ولا كتاب بعد كتابه ولا شريعة بعد شريعته أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز. وقال تعالى ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders and brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept us in this world, and we are in this world, this what is known as the material world. Also, in our parlance, we also call it dunya. And this is a reality. The way we are one day going to die, which is a reality. The day we are going to go in the qabr, which is a reality. And we are going to face the akhirat, which is a reality. In a similar way, for us to remain in this world, in this dunya, till whenever Allah decides, is a reality. ये दुनिया भी एक हकीकत है, जिस तरह आखिरत एक हकीकत है. अब जब ये हकीकत है, तो इसमें हमारे क्या रवैया होना चाहिए? लोगों ने दो रवैया इख्तियार किया है. Now, since it is a reality, what is our attitude towards this world? What is our attitude towards this world? In the past, we find that people have used their intellect, their desires, and they have gone astray. Some people have said that this dunya and this world is just merely a bridge. You just have to cross it over and go to the akhirat. It is nothing. ये दुनिया कोई हकीकत नहीं है, उसमें कोई खैर नहीं. There is nothing good in this world. It is only something for you to trample upon, and you have to live, and akhirat is a reality and the objective. Now there have been people who have adopted these views, especially in the past. Christianity, Allah in the Holy Quran has made mention of it. وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. That the monasticism of early Christianity, what was it? The only way you can achieve Allah's pleasure is to forsake everything of this world. दुनिया से कोई ताल्लुक ना रखो, उस वक्त तक आप अल्लाह ताला के करीब नहीं हो सकते. Until you do not come close, you cannot come close to Allah until you don't forsake everything of this world. That is one of the views that have been, and one attitude towards the world which had been adopted. Right? Even today, there are Buddhist monks in Nepal and other places who wear absolutely nothing but one pair of clothes, and they feel until we don't do this, we can't come closer towards Almighty Allah. Islam hasn't adopted this. Remember this what I'm saying. Islam hasn't adopted this. There is no joy in life after this. Allah very, very clearly in the Holy Quran tells us, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تُحَرِّمُوا طَيِّبَاتٍ مَا أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. O believers, don't make haram tayyibat. The good things of this world which Allah has made halal, don't make it haram. وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. Don't go beyond the limit. If you make it haram, दुनिया के चीजों को अगर आपने हराम किया, तो आप you are going beyond the limit. आप अल्लाह ताला की नाफरमानी कर रहे हो. You are going against the commands of Allah. Allah Ta'ala told Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu, lima tuharrimu ma ahalla Allahu lak. Oh Nabi, do not make haram what Allah has made halal. So this particular attitude is wrong. There is another attitude which has become more in vogue today, and that is championed by the Western civilization and modern civilization, that everything is only dunya. Sab kuch dunya hai. Only dunya, only matters with regard to this world, and only worldly pleasures means everything. If you don't get worldly pleasures, you don't get wealth, you don't get material things, you are a failure. Allah Ta'ala has also referred to this in the Holy Quran. In hiya illa hayatuna dunya, namutu wa nahya, wa ma nahnu bimab'uthin. Allah Ta'ala speaks about the people who say, but dunya sab kuch hai. Everything is dunya. Hum कोई आखिरत है नहीं, हिसाब किताब कोई है नहीं. There is nothing like hisab kitab, there is nothing like accountability, everything is only dunya. In between these two particular aspects is the beautiful aspect of Islam. Islam has disregarded both these views. Islam doesn't say that dunya is everything, and neither does Islam say that dunya is nothing. Remember what I'm saying? Islam does not deny the importance of dunya. Islam does not deny the importance of this material world. What it denies is its supremacy and its priority. Allah has so beautifully put it in the Holy Quran. قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا وَتِجَارَةٌ تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا. Tell unto the people, O Prophet of Almighty Allah, if your parents, your children, وَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ, your family and your tribe, وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا, the wealth that you collect, you accumulate, وَتِجَارَةٌ, your businesses which you fear loss in. The greatest fear of a businessman is that, babe, there must be no loss. Every day he's looking at his bank statement. Every day he's looking at his turnover. The greatest thing a businessman fears is his loss. وَتِجَارَةٌ تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَانَهَا وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا, the houses that you live in. أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُمْ, more beloved to you than Allah and His Rasul. See, what did Allah Ta'ala say? He didn't say it is not beloved. He says, أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُمْ, more beloved than Allah and His Rasul, more beloved than striving in the path of Allah, more beloved than deen. Then you wait for Allah Ta'ala's commands. Then you wait for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's punishment. So, Islam has not denied the importance, it is denied its supremacy and its priority. In its proper place, in its proper way, this material world is also good. It can also bring benefit. But, let us look at both views. Musbat or manfi pehlu. Look at the positive, let us look at the negative. I'm going to make mention, because it's a very, very long topic, you can speak for many Jumas. But sometimes when you speak for many Jumas, you lose the thrust and you lose the lesson. So I'm going to make it short. I'm going to make mention of few points. Right? Yaad rakhoge, will you remember it inshallah? Firstly, the material world is part of life's possession. It is not the entire possession. Mal takhliq ka ek hissa hai. Mal takhliq ka ek hissa hai, kul takhliq nahi. Wealth is part of life's possession, it is not the entire possession. Allah Ta'ala in the Holy Quran has spoken about more important possessions. وَرِضْوَانٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. The greatest thing is to achieve the pleasure of Allah. Now you remember this? Number one. Number two, since the year after is permanent, the year after must be given preference over dunya. Since the year after is permanent, it must be given preference over dunya. Kyunke akhirat daimi hai, usko tarjih deni chahiye. Therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Holy Quran, and He complains. How many times we read Sabbih Isma, which is sunnah to read at the time of the different times, and of course to read, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to read Surah Sabbih Isma in Jummah. So there, in that Surah Sabbih Isma, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرُ وَأَبْقَى. O human being, you give preference to this world. But akhirat is khair. Akhirat is better. It is more permanent. Now can we give an example of how Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam regarded this permanency? Right? One day Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and very seldom it happened in the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there was a sheep cut. There was a sheep and a lamb or whatever, there was a sheep that was cut in the house of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came home and he asked Hazrat Aisha, what is left of the sheep? What is left of the sheep? So she replied and said, one small piece of shoulder. Otherwise everything we gave it away. So do you know what Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said? Everything is left but the shoulder. Just remember, physically, definitely the shoulder was the only thing left. But how did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam turn it? He said, everything is left but the shoulder. Everything we gave is for akhirat. It is more permanent. It's better. So everything is left but the shoulder is not left. We will use it, we will eat it, koi faida nahi. We're not going to get sawab. Look at how beautifully he put it. And that is part of the ayat. Ma indakum yanfad وَمَا إِنَّ اللَّهِ بَاقٍ. Whatever you utilize is going to die one day. Most beautiful home, most beautiful car, whatever you have done is going to die, is going to perish. No one is going to take it worth. Alexander the Great, when he died, he wrote down and he said, when I die, take my hand and put it outside my coffin. People said, why? He said, to show people I'm the greatest king of the world at that time, but I'm also going to leave without anything. Right? So, ma indakum yanfad. Second thing, since hereafter is our real abode, that should take precedence. The third thing, it is not the highest of our aspirations and desires. ये हमारे ख्वाहिशात का मरकज और महू नहीं. Dunya is not supposed to be the highest of our aspirations and our desires. Therefore, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made dua, Allahumma la tajal dunya akbar hammina, wala mablagha ilmina, wala ghayata raghbatina. Oh Allah, do not make this material world the highest of our aspirations, the reason why we gain knowledge for, and the be all and the end all of our desires. Third thing I made mention, dunya is not the highest of our aspirations and desires. Fourthly, more often than not, it takes a person towards guna and sin. माल बहुत से मर्तबा हमें गुनाह की तरफ मुब्तला कर देती है. More often than not. Kitab al-Zuhud, Abdullah ibn Mubarak rahmatullah alayh. Kitab al-Zuhud means the kitab of piety. Many people have written Kitab al-Zuhud. Imam Muhammad rahmatullah alayh wrote Kitab al-Zuhud. Abdullah ibn Mubarak rahmatullah alayh wrote Kitab al-Zuhud. So in the Kitab al-Zuhud of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he's written this one incident. That when different type of wealth came into Medina Munawwarah, many wealth came into Medina Munawwarah, and it was piled up into the courtyard of Masjid al-Nabawi. And Umar radiallahu anhu from the morning was sitting with that wealth. And he was telling people, distribute it. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf came and said, Amirul Mu'mineen, there is so much wealth, we can't distribute it. Leave it in the Baytul Mal. As the need comes, we will distribute it to the people. And he said, Abdurrahman, don't leave it. Distribute it. I want nothing in the Baytul Mal. I want all of this wealth. And he started weeping. And he started weeping. And when he started weeping, Abdurrahman said, Amirul Mu'mineen, you are crying. Everyone is happy, so much wealth in this world. Can you imagine? This whole South Africa is crying about wealth and wealth distribution. I'm not saying that it is wrong and not justice on its place. I'm just telling you about priority. Umar ibn Khattab started crying. And Abdurrahman said, Amirul Mu'mineen, why are you crying? He said, I know that this wealth is appealing. But I also know from what the Quran says, whenever wealth comes, it brings in its wake gunah. It brings in its wake sin. It brings in its wake enmity. It brings in its wake hostility. How many arguments are only because of this material world? When there is nothing, no one fights. When there is nothing, no one fights. When there is wealth, everyone fights. So he said, I know that this is appealing, but I also know wherever it comes, it brings about. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I don't fear poverty from my ummah. I fear wealth. That they will get wealth and they will become so engrossed in it, and that they will become destroyed the way the people of the previous ummahs became destroyed because of excessive love and engrossment with this material world. So that is the fourth thing I made mention of. Then fifthly, where it matters most, wealth will not be any benefit. Where it matters most, it will bring no benefit until you utilize it for the sake of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. जहाँ पे हमें जरूरत अगर होगा ना, तो माल कोई फायदा नहीं देगा जब तक हमने उस माल को अल्लाह ताला के रास्ते में और अल्लाह ताला के वास्ते हमने खर्च किया. Otherwise it will bring no benefit to you. In the year after, wealth in itself will not be able to benefit you. In fact, wealth will be a disadvantage. Wealth will be a disadvantage in the year after, because you have to give different type of accountability with regard to that wealth. The very famous hadith which I have many times made mention, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam one day was speaking about the different type of Sahaba. And when he spoke about the different Sahaba, and he said, إِنِّي لَعَارِفُ رَجُلًا إِسْمُهُ وَإِسْمُ أَبِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ لَا يَأْتِي بَابًا مِنْ أَبْوَابِ الْجَنَّةِ إِلَّا قَالَ مَرْحَبًا مَرْحَبًا. Oh, I know a name of a person. I know him. I know his father. I know his mother. Wherever he comes towards Jannah, the doors of Jannah will say, come towards me. For you to come towards me is my honor, not your honor. And Salman Farsi got up, Inna hadihi la murtafi'un shanuhu, Ya Rasulullah. Whose great rank is this, Ya Rasulullah? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Abu Bakr ibn Quhafa. Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala. And then Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I saw most beautiful palace in Jannah. I saw a most beautiful palace. I said, whose palace is this? He said, Fatam min Quraysh, a person from Quraysh. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, such a beautiful palace perhaps might be mine. And I took a step forward towards it. And the angel said, Ya Rasulullah, this belongs to Umar. This belongs to Umar. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told the Sahaba, Umar, I thought of your anger and I didn't go forward. And Nabi Hazrat Umar started crying and he said, Alayka aghar. Ya Rasulullah, I'm going to show anger and display anger towards you. How can I do that? Then he turned towards Abdurrahman. Abdurrahman, I waited for you. I waited for you. When are you coming to Jannah? And then eventually you were delayed and you came crawling into Jannah. You came crawling into Jannah. And Abdurrahman said, why Ya Rasulullah? He said, you had wealth. You had to give hisab. 5 days, no wealth, no hisab. Today if you go, for example, for any trip, and you go to the checking counters, by what have you got? Nothing. I only got hand luggage. Go, quickly. What have you got? I got checking luggage. How much weight? Is it now overweight? Not overweight. How much? You see, if you got weight, if you got checking luggage, you have to give hisab. You got no checking luggage, you go straight in. In a similar way, in Jannah, it's going to be the same thing. How much you've got? How much you got? Give hisab. Is it overweight? How much Allah gave you? Did you make enough? Did you make enough good for that? Allah will take hisab of that. So there where it matters most, it won't be an advantage. It might be a disadvantage. That's the 5th thing I made mention. And then the 6th thing, it is not the criteria for success. It is not the criteria for success. Kamyabi और खुशी का परवाना नहीं. माल कामयाबी और खुशी का परवाना नहीं है. This is something we must get out of our heads. Sometimes I find it so amazing. A person, he will say, I am a failure in life. But why are you a failure in life? I didn't make enough money. He himself says this. Then what can you think of a person when he himself is saying, I'm a failure because I made several business endeavors, nothing passed. Nothing brought good for me. So I'm a failure. On what basis did you regard yourself as a failure? On the basis that you made money? Qarun made money. Didn't make him successful. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't have money. Didn't make him unsuccessful. Ya Allah, where have we got this whole particular notion with regard to it? So this is an aspect. I've given you 6 points with regard to the negatives. Will you remember it? The material wealth is part of life's possession, not the most important aspect of life. The year after is more permanent, it should take preference. Thirdly, it is not the highest of our aspirations and desires. Fourthly, more often than not, it makes you engage in sin. Fifthly, where it matters most, it will not be of benefit. And then sixthly, it is not the criteria for success and happiness. 6 points I've made mention of. Now let us look at the other aspect. The other aspect is, as I said, Islam doesn't regard the world as nothing. Islam regards the world also as something. In this particular regard, look at what the Quran has made mention of with regard to the positive. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana. Oh Allah, give us good in this world. So Allah Ta'ala has told us that this world is also good, therefore we want good of this world. Allah didn't say, I don't want this world. In Hayatul Sahaba, there is Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu saw a person making dua. And in that particular dua, he was making dua, Ya Allah, save me from this world, save me from this world. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu said, what type of dua you are making? He said, I am making dua that Allah must save me from this world. He said, don't make this dua. Don't you want wealth? He said, I want. Don't you want children? I want. So he said that, then don't make this dua. Make this type of dua. Allah grant us the good of this world and grant us and save us from the evil of this world. We want the world, but we want the good. We don't want the world to take us away from Allah. We don't want the world to take us away from relationships. Today this is an aspect. People are building their whole relationships based on wealth. Aliyadu billah. And wealth is taking us away from Allah Ta'ala's commands. La tulihikum amwalukum wala awladukum an dhikrillah. O believers, do not allow this material world to make you neglectful of Allah. Do not let it ever, I'm saying this again, do not let wealth become a criteria in relationships. Many of the disputes we have is because of wealth. Many times estates, many times family businesses. People are fighting because of wealth. Don't let this wealth. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi used to say, you will get another piece of land. You will get another wealth. Once you break a relationship, that relationship won't come back again. Huh? The people are fighting. So one day there was people were fighting with regard to, there was an estate, the father left behind some big property. So the small brothers, they came to the big brother. They said, "Bhai, you make decision. You are the big brother. You will make fair justice. We believe in you. You are the big brother." So they put him on a pedestal. So he said, "All right, I will make hisab. I will make now proper distribution." So when all the brothers and the sisters and the nephews, they came, so the big brother, he gave his decision. What decision he said? He said, "This entire property, from the earth till the ceiling, till the end of the ceiling belongs to me." So all the other people are looking at the bigger brother. He said, "What type of justice is this?" He said, "For us." He said, "I've given you more." He said, "What?" "From the ceiling till the 7 heavens is yours. Ye sab aapke hai." So by then, this type of things, how is going to happen? One day in the time of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was 2 Sahaba. One sold a land to another Sahabi. Now listen to this. As he sold the land to the Sahabi, there was some treasure that was found in that land. So they went to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now they fighting, we fighting, this is mine, not yours. They fighting, this is not mine, this is yours. So the one who sold said, "Ya Rasulullah, when I sold him the property and whatever it belongs is his." This person saying, "Ya Rasulullah, when I bought it, I bought the property. I didn't buy the wealth. It's his, it's not mine." Can you imagine? They fighting, not mine's, yours. Today, everyone fighting, mera sab kuch, uska nahi. This is completely opposite. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam heard them. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam inquired, started speaking to them. "Do you have any children?" One said, "I got a son." One said, "I got a daughter." Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Best thing, get them married, give the wealth to them." Subhanallah. So this aspect, brothers, the same wealth has been the means of people rising up. One day in the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, there was drought. And lot of wealth came. Now because there is drought, everyone is worried about. Now all of a sudden there is demand. There is demand for this goods. And all the wholesalers are there for that goods. And who it belongs to? Uthman radiallahu ta'ala. And they come to Uthman. "Uthman, sell us. We want to wholesale this now. Everyone will want this gold because there is such a great demand in the market." And Uthman radiallahu ta'ala is in charge of the goods. "How much will you give me?" Someone said, "Double the market value." Someone said, 3 times the market value. Uthman said, "No, I don't want to sell it." So one person said, "Uthman, who are you going to sell it to? All the people who buy the goods are here. Who are you going to sell it to?" So Uthman radiallahu ta'ala said, "Will you give me 10 times the market value?" They said, "No." Uthman radiallahu ta'ala said, "Ma Allah has said, Man ja'a bil hasanati falahu ashru amthaliha." Whoever does one righteous deed, Allah multiplies it 10 times. I have given everything because of the drought in the path of Allah. Go and give it to the poor. They are suffering. Go and give it to the poor. Why? This is Uthman radiallahu anhu. Uthman radiallahu anhu gave so much wealth in Tabuk. So much wealth that Sahaba say that Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he gave dinars over dinars and gold coins over gold coins. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was playing with those gold coins and he was crying. And he said, "Ma darra Uthman, ma amila ba'da hadha al-yawm." Nothing will harm Uthman after what he has done today. Nothing will harm Uthman. Go. Uthman, you are Jannati because of your generous. Now where did he get Jannat from? From this material world. He got Jannat from this dunya. There are many examples I can give, time has elapsed. So this is an aspect. Always when we speak, we must speak with a perspective. Sometimes we only speak about one side, we only speak about the other side. Get the right perspective. There is musbat and manfi. There is positive and negatives. We must all strive to get that which is positive, not that which is negative. Karenge inshallah. We'll all do it inshallah. Towards the end, just 1 or 2 small announcements. Today, brothers, there is tent that is outside on the right-hand side of the masjid, the Muslim AIDS program. It is our Islamic contribution towards the fight against AIDS. And we know that one of the greatest ways of preventing AIDS is through the means of abstention and not making haram khori, not getting involved in things which are haram. In this particular tent, there will be pamphlets that will be highlighting the Islamic aspect. There is also an aspect of testing yourself for HIV. Now, we don't deny or we don't say that we doubt anyone, but of course, today there is a great appeal from the government to know your status. Because you know your status, especially in those communities where it is widespread, it becomes a means of combating it. So let us be amongst those who are not worried. and we will test. To know our status, to make it widespread. We are living in a community, you can't be alone on your own, you are not an island on your own. So this particular aspect, there is a tent, go past the tent if you get an opportunity. The second thing, brothers, we all know that there are different situations in the world. Our Muslim community and Muslim Ummah is facing a lot of challenges and oppression, injustice. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. In this last few weeks and months, 2 countries in particular have become the target of great oppression and injustice. One is Burma and one is Kashmir. Great amount. In Kashmir, you can't imagine the zulm. In Burma, you can't imagine the zulm. In Kashmir, there is a specific campaign, sometimes to rape the Muslim woman, to rob them of their honor. And sometimes to shoot in such a way which makes people blind. Thousands of people have become blind. And in this particular way, part of our response, there should be other responses also, but at least this much, I will make an appeal, 2 rakats of namaz after Jummah for the people of these lands. Inshallah, we'll do that. May Allah Ta'ala give us. Also, part of making dua for rain is that we seek istighfar. Forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that rain can come. We know in our country there are certain situations where water restrictions have applied. By part of that is to make istighfar. And when we make istighfar, Allah Ta'ala's mercy will inshallah come down. May Allah give us a tawfiq of understanding.